Monster Cox was an idea I had back in college to start a hyper-realistic sex toy brand based upon my favorite stuff like horror movies. I have a pretty big background in special effects. I've been sculpting, mold making, life casting since I was like 8 years old. I really got interested in the chemistry side of it. As soon as I was like, oh, this stuff is like platinum silicone and is body safe. It's a joke with my classmates. I was like, well, wouldn't it be funny if we made like a sparkly dildo, like a glitter dildo that was a vampire dildo? I love how these horror movies saved Hollywood in a lot of ways. They're kind of iconic, not just in movie history, but also in the zeitgeist of America. If you want something that's handmade by an American-based company that's high quality, it's going to take time.
Welcome everyone to Spicerack Live. I'm Rosa, and we have some amazing guests today. We have Mike from Monster Cox today. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We have a lot of questions for you, and let's dive in if that's cool.
Yeah, let's kick it off.
All right, sounds great. So, first question for you is, for anybody, so a lot of people here, you're new to Spicerack market. We'd love to introduce you. Tell us a little bit about Monster Cox and the madness behind the concept.
Sure. So Monster Cox, it depends on how detailed you want to get, but essentially Monster Cox was an idea I had back in college to start a hyper-realistic sex toy brand based upon my favorite stuff like horror movies, things along those lines. And then I basically, after I got out of college, I worked for Real Doll. Then I became part owner of Real Doll and COO, and at which time I was able to kind of bring Monster Cox to life. Back in 2024, I left Real Doll, but I was able to, part of my contract was I was able to keep Monster Cox. So I'm running that exclusively now with my business partner, Kyle, who couldn't make it today.
Oh, bummer, but that's amazing. Yeah. So Real Doll, as in that company in Vegas?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Great. Amazing. That's incredible. And you have some, I believe, history with effects and
yeah, so the college I was into was the Tom Savini Special Effects Makeup School. I have a pretty big background in special effects. My father was a local filmmaker in the Midwest. And then, so I've been sculpting, mold making, life casting since I was like 8 years old, basically.
Really amazing. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Is your dad somebody that we would know?
No, he mainly he's huge to me. He's an art teacher now. But when he was younger, he was about my age, he did a lot of like independent films, like horror movies, things like that. But no, not any big name or anything along those lines.
Oh, okay. That sounds cool though. Growing up with them with you, so I'm sure inspires your work now.
Oh, sure.
So tell us a little bit about how, how do you incorporate, that's my question, I guess, how do you incorporate the effects world into making dildos and, sex toys?
Sure. So a lot of the reason I had this idea in college would have been, was the whole idea of the fact that I started learning about all the different chemicals and materials used for special effects in Hollywood. At the time, everything from like latex to foams and silicones, silicone rubbers, polyurethanes, things like that. And I really got interested in the chemistry side of it and started learning about all the, I guess you would say, like safety aspects and like the fact that for a long time we were putting stuff on actors' faces that would poison them. I think a famous story is the Tin Man, like was poisoned by the makeup in Wizard of Oz and things along those lines. So as soon as I was like, oh, this stuff is like platinum silicone and is body safe. And at the time, I don't know if you remember, but like the movie Twilight was really big. The Twilight franchise was really big. And just kind of as a joke with my classmates, I was like, well, wouldn't it be funny if we made like a sparkly dildo, like a glitter dildo that was a vampire dildo, and that would sell so well to make it to, starving artist in college, you're trying to think of any way you can to make money. And that kind of birthed the idea of like, oh, well, Invisible Man would be like this and Frankenstein would be like this. And it just kind of grew from there of taking these really classic, iconic monsters and merging them into into the sex toy market or the concepts of sexuality and horror together, basically.
I think it goes hand in hand personally. That's just me. I think a lot of us feel that way. So is there a particular creature or movie that inspired you, that you saw, let's say, and you said, "Oh my God, I have to turn that into a dildo." Like, what
Um,
inspired you to do?
so I would say, I hate to say it, but technically, Twilight was the first one where, but that was really from a financial thing. Like it was like, oh, dude, everyone wants to have Edward Dildo. I think that's his name. Like
Yeah, right.
everyone would want that, But after that, we kind of started. Well, at the time, it was me. I was just doing a lot of sketching, coming up with different ideas. I was always a slasher fan, so like Freddy Krueger was my favorite. So the Freddy Krueger dildo has actually gone through like I would say two or three iterations. The one I sculpted in college is like a prototype, and since then has had like a couple of revisions. But yeah, that was the first one I would say was the Frankenstein, or I'm sorry, Freddy Krueger was the first one, and then I did and then I sculpted the official five that we released under Monster Cox were all sculpted back to back. And that was when I embraced the more classic old Hollywood era. So circa The Mummy and Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, all movies that I watched many, many times as a kid growing up. I really liked I liked the theme, the idea. I love how these horror movies saved Hollywood in a lot of ways, and so that they're kind of iconic, not just in the movie history, but also in the zeitgeist of America and how we were able to kind of push on up an escape from the day-to-day tragedies that people were experiencing, being able to go to like see Frankenstein or Creature from the Black Lagoon as a way to escape those things. I think horror has always kind of held that place for a lot of people as an escape.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's amazing what it can do. It triggers so many emotions, and it's very deep, in my opinion, like you said.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot to it. So that's been my attraction to your products and your brand. It's amazing. It embodied all of it in such a nice, professional, beautiful way because it's very artistic. It's a piece
Thank
of
you.
art, in my opinion. You're welcome. It's true though, and I think a lot of people will see that. It's very well made. Do you listen to anything as far as music? Because I know horror movies, music are very intertwined in a lot of ways. Is there something that inspires you musically, or do you listen to something when you're making
Um, so I would say like Kyle and I both we switch off what we're listening to all the time. We both have a pretty eclectic taste in music. We listen to a lot of different music. We watch a lot of movies. We have multiple TVs around our studio, so we'll always be watching something in the background. A lot of what we do, especially with the early concept designs, is spending a lot of time just kind of absorbing it. Pop culture, entertainment, things like that, and just like every time we watch something, there's always like a little joke with each other about, oh, we could turn that into a dildo, or we could turn that into a dildo. Like we have the great thing about what we do is that there's you can pull inspiration from pretty much anywhere. But I would say as far as music goes, like some of I'm a big industrial fan, so I really like KMFDM and like some like typo negative stuff. Kyle ranges all over the place. I'd say he's a little bit more classic rock. Throw some Def Leppard and Poison in there. So, but we're always listening. We're always absorbing entertainment in some way, even while we're working. Be it YouTube videos, be it movies or music, anything.
Right, right. I can see the influence in your work.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. So you did say something recently in an interview where you said that educating people about handmade, made to order art is hard in the Amazon era.
Yeah.
What's something that you wish people understood about your process that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most weird things that people come across nowadays is that they come to say Monster Cox or even our profile on Spicerack, and it says, it could be like 4 weeks until they get their product. That really stands out to people. They're like, well, shit, I just ordered this other thing on Amazon and got it next day. Society in general has become well, depending on the quality of the product, has ultimately become pretty impatient. It's the idea of like if you want something that's handmade by a American based, not always the case, but at least an American based company that's high quality, it's going to take time. And with the evolution of e-commerce, kind of getting to the point where everyone's racing to get people their stuff faster, I think we've seen an extreme drop in quality. I'm talking even on Amazon. I remember when I was younger, 15, 20 years ago, you could go to Amazon and find quality items. Nowadays, you go to Amazon and it's basically Temu 2.0. Like
So true.
it's not even quality. No one cares. Like, and that's not true actually. A lot of people still care about quality. It's just they're being bamboozled, in my opinion, about the quality of certain things. And so our products are high priced because it's literally Kyle and I, and occasionally we get help from a couple of people if we really have a big push or something like that. But otherwise, it's just us doing everything. It's a small business trying to do something in frankly in the United States where small businesses uh, don't really have a great success rate. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, you know, and
Yeah.
it's you know it's worth it for the artistry alone and for the quality of the product as well.
Yeah.
And speaking of quality, is there something that you do differently? Tell me about your process as far as the type of silicone that you use, the molds that you create.
Right.
Love to hear about it.
So we do everything very traditionally to say I'm gonna keep referring to the effects industry or the movie industry, Hollywood, et cetera. But we don't a very common method, I'll just say right now with toys, and I'm not begrudging it. I don't like being gatekeepy with art or creativity. I think everyone should have the freedom to express themselves however they wish. But a very common thing nowadays is the use of digital methods to create their stuff. It's the cheapest way to do it. This is why you can see companies selling fantasy dildos for so inexpensively, is because there are a lot of 3D printing, 3D designing, and everything we do is by hand. So from sculpture, which is traditional, we use the same clay that Porsche uses to make their cars.
That's amazing.
Yeah, traditional clay sculptures that go through traditional epoxy fiberglass molds that we make. From there, it goes into a lot of design as far as coming up with the coloration process, the feeling, the density, the casting process. We'll make a 30-piece mold if we have to get a certain effect. And then
I
our
think that's
coloration process is pretty proprietary. It's something I kind of held over from my time at Real Doll, designing things. It's tricky. A lot of people don't like doing it, but we do it because it adds to the effect, and it's extremely time intensive.
I can imagine. I
So
can imagine.
but it works, and it's one of those things where is the only difference. I feel like I think I've said in a recent interview that it was like I feel like everything when it comes to fantasy sex toys is kind of just an ocean of the sameness. It's just everything kind of looks the same. It's like, is that Bad Dragon, or is that this company, or is this company? You can't even really tell the difference nowadays.
100%. That's so true. I
Yeah.
agree. And so a little bit about your product. I know they're all your babies, but which one is, I would say, your most, the one that stands out to you the most? Like, which is your baby?
Right. So it's my if you'd asked me a couple years ago, I probably would have said the Creature Cock, which is also the one. Sadly, they got ripped off. Another company stole our idea and is producing it, which sucks. But that was my baby for a long time. But after that experience, and honestly, how many I've made, I'm over it. I'm kind of like, oh, another Creature Cock. I don't want to make another one of those. But I would say of our newer products, I really like the Screamer. I think its simplicity is spot on. I like that it is capturing an iconic figure such as Ghostface and making it really simple. I really enjoyed that. We have a new product we're going to be launching here in the next couple months. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited about. But I would say the Screamer is my current favorite, but the fan favorites, i.e. the ones that have sold the most, are definitely the Creature Cock and our Devil Tail butt plug, which at the time was the first one of its kind. There's lots of like cheaper ones you can get nowadays on like Temu and stuff like that, but at the time it was the only one, and still probably our best selling product is the Devil Tail butt plug.
It's pretty cool, I must
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yes. So I do have a question about one of your products. It really piqued my interest, and I wanted to understand the concept behind it. Like, where did it come from?
Sure.
It's so unique. The nipple clamp that you have.
Yeah.
Tell us how that came to be.
So we're hoping to do more with that. We're just testing the waters because so that's in a separate part of our website. It's called the morg on the website. And the original plan was that the morg was going to be pretty much, for lack of a better word, the goriest stuff. So
Right.
I'm sure you've seen on sex toys, a lot of people will do like hands, like dildo hands, like fists
Right.
and stuff like that. Feet, even you can buy
Feet, yeah.
feet, and
Some
so
belly
the whole
buttons.
right, so yeah, exactly. So our whole idea was the morgue was going to end up being pretty much the most grotesque part of the website, where you could buy limbs, if you will.
Right. And
So
just for the
yeah,
audience, a little, a little bit about that product. So it's severed fingers with,
yes,
the blood, and it's just very intricate, very cool, very unique. I was like so drawn to it because I
yeah.
hadn't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, so it's again, it's using these applications of concept used in movies, right? So it's this like hyper detailed thing that's camera ready, but it's really real, it's hyper realistic and
Yeah.
it's creepy. But it that started from a bit of a joke with me and some of my roommates back in college when we started. I don't know if what night it was or whatever, but we were all just sitting around and we were just like, and we were talking about toys, and one of my buddies was like, dude, it nipple clamps, man, but they're fingers. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah, let's do that. And so we took it off, but we want to grow the morgue. It's just one of those things where when you're creating stuff, one of the nice things about going more fun and fantasy with your products when you choose to do that is that you're always kind of like on this cartoony, I will even say kind of like furry focused customer base, and so it's kind of happy and fun and sexy at the same time. When you're doing our stuff, we always have to be a little bit careful. It's like, well, we can put severed limbs up there, but we're gonna have to draw a line, like it's
Right,
gonna,
right.
like, so
At some
it's
point, huh?
yes, yeah. What we're capable of and what we choose to do are very two different things. So yeah.
Speaking of which, that I was thinking that, like, where do you draw the line? Because I personally, in this industry, I feel like it's anything goes.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel
Yeah.
like, and the crazier, the more unique, the more amazing it is, in my opinion. So,
Right.
uh, for you and Monster Cock, like, is there a limit for you, or is there a creature that you would like to create but wouldn't dare, or is there
Uh,
something?
um. So I would say, so like the biggest things we've ever talked about doing, which it's deeper than like a surface level question. Like I'd say the riskiest stuff we've ever considered. I don't know. Gore warning, I guess. I don't know, but like we're talking about like doing severed penises,
Okay,
things like that, and it's like it would fit with our product line. All that
right,
fits, but at the same time, we have. I literally mean thousands of ideas when I say we have so many more quote unquote safe, less provoking ideas that
yeah,
we tend to lean towards doing that. But I would
right.
say generally for custom stuff, my stuff, my limits are that of the legal system.
Understood. Yeah,
Pretty much, we're willing to do. We just did some custom work a couple months ago, and it was a great experience. But if it's illegal, we won't be doing it.
that
So yeah,
that that sounds good to me. Hey,
yeah, yeah.
and what is the wildest custom design that if you can chat about?
Let me think here. I wasn't even here. It was back when I was working at Real Doll, and I answered the same question. I had to sculpt some nipples that were this big, like they were
Oh,
giant
wow.
nipples. Yeah, they looked like
Just the
hats.
nipple or like the whole breast?
No, it was just the nipple. Just the nipple
Oh,
was like this wide, and it was like really thick. And yeah, that was. I've done a lot of weird stuff, but that'll always take the cake for me.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one last question for you. So if someone looked back on Monster Cox 20 years from now, what would you want them, to say about the impact you've had in the horror and adult industry world?
I I honestly I would really hope that they would say that at least someone was doing it. Like
Love
that's
that.
really like I feel
Love
like
that.
that there's plenty of other people out there doing fantasy sex toys and companies doing it, but really pushing the boundaries, not accepting just kind of what we can now consider to be standard fantasy toys, but someone who's like, no, let's see how gross and real we can make this.
Definitely. Love that. I love
Yeah.
it. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mike. This is Monster Cox. They're now live on Spicerack, Market. Come check them out. Their store is amazing. They have amazing products, and as you can see, it's quality, artistic, artistry. They're just amazing. So check them out, definitely. And they have new products coming out soon, as you said, right? Do you
Yeah.
know what more or less when those is coming out? Or
Well, for the next one will probably be in the like I'd say about probably first of the year, would be sometime around then for sure.
so definitely check them out. Thank you so much, you guys, and thank you, Mike, for joining us. Monster
Thank
Cox,
you.
you're amazing. So thanks for joining us today.